Greetings, math fans. All right, so now this is day 2 of Chapter 7a. So we talked about multiplying numbers together or variables together with exponents. And remember, you add those exponents. And then we talked about having a variable with a power and raising that to a power, and you multiply those exponents. So we're going to kind of use actually all that information in today's lesson and kind of combine them a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem. We said operating with powers. Power of a product, find the value that should be replace the question marks. So basically you have 6 times 5 cubed. Do you guys agree 6 times 5 cubed just means we basically have 6 times 5 times another 6.5 times another 6.5. So that's like saying 6 cubed and 5 cubed. So we've done this already even yesterday, right, in the past lesson. It's that cubed is affected by both 6 and the 5. Okay, so you cube the 6 and you cube the 5. So like this next one is 2x to the 5th, and this is again writing 2x out 5 times. And how many times do I write 2 out? 5 times. How many times do I write x out? 5 times. Okay, so it's 2 to the 5th, x to the 5th. We're going to start putting some of these numbers in our calculator. So like 2 to the 5th power, if you put it in your calculator, 2 raise a little arrow to the 5th power. Okay, so that's basically like saying 2 times 2, which is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. And so that's what that is. That's 32 and then x to the 5th. Okay, so negative 6 times 3, again it's negative 6 times 3, negative 6 times 3, do that 4 times, so it's negative 6 to the 4th power and 3 to the 4th power. Okay, all right, so just again, here's another one here. It says look for general property of exponents illustrated in the example, and find the expression to replace the question mark. So basically, again, this n right here gets affected by both the a and the b, and there it is. It's a to the n, b to the n, bn. Yeah, isn't that Spanish? Bn. Oh yeah. All right. E, describe the general pattern. So I don't know if I can describe the general pattern, but you need to, if there's an exponent on the outside, so that needs to basically, I don't want to say distribute, but it goes with every term inside the parenthesis. Okay? All right, so let's just a couple examples here. So simplify each expression. So it's really saying 2 cubed, w cubed. Because again, that cubed goes with the 2 and the w. You put in your calculator, 2 cubed is 8, so it's 8w cubed. Okay, this one, it's a to the 4th, b to the 4th. Okay, this one, it's really, I know for this one you want to say negative 3 cubed and 5 cubed, but really it's negative 15. If you can, just like with order of operation, guys, if you can do whatever inside the parentheses and simplify it, which in this case I can, it's negative 15, and then you cube it, again, you're going to put that in your calculator as I'm doing right this very minute. But I'm also using parentheses. They are really, really important, and I'll show you why they're important in a second. Okay, but if you do negative 15 cubed, you get negative 3,375. But I'll show you why it's important for the parentheses in a second. Okay, so now let's do some problems here. So I am going to, basically what you do is you deal with this exponent first, that 2, and then your last step is going to multiply that by the x cubed. So remember PEMDAS? So parenthesis, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So I'm going to do everything, there's nothing really to do in the parenthesis, but I'm going to do this exponent outside the parenthesis first, because my last thing is going to be to multiply. So it's basically 3 squared times x, and what do you do with that? Power to power, isn't that x to the 8th? Everybody okay with that? Times x cubed. So what's 3 squared? 9. And what do you do when you have two terms like this multiplied? You add the exponent, so it's x to the 11th. Okay? So this one, I'm going to write a little 1 here, 9 to the 1. But it's 9 to the 1 and that 9 gets affected by the squared, and the z to the 5th gets affected by the squared. So it's times 9 squared times z to the 10th. Okay? And 9 to the first times 9 to the second, remember you add these together, so it's 9 to the third z to the 10th, and you put 9 to the third in your calculator and you get 729 z to the 10th. Okay? Alright, so this next one, this is where I want to show you something. So it's negative 2 to the 4th, z cubed to the 4th times 2z squared. So here's the deal. If you don't put this in your calculator, if you just type in negative 2 to the 4th power, go ahead and type it in right now. Type negative 2 to the 4th power and look what you get. Negative 16. It really should be, because think about it, isn't a negative times a negative a positive times another negative is negative times negative another negative is a positive? So if this is an even power, which it is, even power, that will be positive. The answer will be positive. And so type it in with a parenthesis, in parentheses negative 2, close parentheses, raised to the 4th power, and you get 16. Okay, so it's not negative 16, it's 16. So that's 16, that's z to the 12th, and that's times 2z squared. That z, this guy is not being affected by this exponent at all. So it's just times 2z squared. So now you're going to multiply the numbers together. So 6 times 12 is 32. Z to the 12th times z to the 2nd is z to the 14th. Okay, so the final answer is 32z to the 14th. All right. This takes practice, guys. We've got a lot of practice problems here. All right. So it's 3 times 5 is 15. And that's x to the 4th times x squared. Okay, and x to the 4th times x squared, you add those together, so it's 15x to the 6th. Okay, same thing with this next one. 2 times 6, 12. Because numbers you just multiply like normal. And then it's x to the 5 plus 4 is 9. And y squared times y to the 8th, so y to the 10th. That's your answer. Okay, next one, negative 6 times 4, negative 24. X to the 5th times x to the 2nd, x to the 7th, adding exponents. Y to the 7th times y to the 6th is y to the 13th. And z to the 1st power times z to the 3rd is z to the 4th power. And that's it. Simplified. Okay? 2 to the 4th power, again, I don't care, put it in your calculator, and 2 to the 4th will be positive 16. Negative 2, again, using your parentheses, it's also going to be 16. 2 cubed, 8. Negative 2 cubed, negative 8, because negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times another negative 2 of negative 8. All right, 3 squared is 9. This is a tricky one, okay, because if you typed in negative 3 squared without, this has no parentheses, so it truly is negative 9 as your answer. If it was negative 3 in parentheses squared, that would be positive 9. Okay, but it is not this. It's negative 3 squared, no parentheses. So you don't put it in. Okay. Now, if you look at number 10, you would say, well, Mr. Griffiths, do you really have parentheses around the negative 4? Yeah, you don't, but do you guys agree it's negative 4? Whatever is squared, put parentheses around it. So negative 4 squared, x cubed squared, y to the 4th squared. Okay, every term's got a parenthesis around it. And now we do negative 4 squared, which is 16, x to the power, x to the 6th, y to the 8th. Okay, so negative 2 cubed, a cubed, and b to the 8th cubed. All right, so what's negative 2 cubed? Again, put it in your calculator, but it's negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. So negative 8, a to the 9th, b to the 24th. Okay, so same thing, negative 2 to the 5th, x squared to the 5th, y to the 1st to the 5th, and z to the 7th to the 5th. So negative 2 to the 5th is negative 32. Okay, because again, put in your calculator, it's fine, but it's negative 32. And the rest of it's easy. It's x to the 10th, y to the 5th, z to the 35th. Okay? Okay, now this one, I've got to do the exponent first. So it's going to be 3 squared, I'll put in parentheses, a to the 4th squared times negative 5 times a to the 5th. So 3 squared is 9, a to the 8th times negative 5, a to the 5th. So multiply the numbers together. 9 times negative 5 is negative 45, and then it's a to the 13th power. Right? It's 8 plus 5. Okay, it's not bad. Okay, the next one, that cubed goes with the 2, the b squared, and the c to the 7th. So I'm just going to write everything else out here. 4b cubed, c to the 8th, 2 to the 3rd, b squared to the 3rd, and c to the 7th to the 3rd. Okay, so let's simplify these. So we get 4 times b cubed times c to the 8th. 2 cubed is 8. B squared cubed is b to the 6th, multiply, and c to the 7th times to the cube or the 3rd power is c to the 21. And then well, we got to finish it yet. Now I need to multiply things together. So 4 times 8, 32. What's b cubed times b to the 6th? Well, add the exponents. It's b to the 9th. And what's c to the 8th times c to the 21st? It's c to the 29th. And that, math fans, is your final answer. Okay? They're not necessarily easy problems. It's a lot of practice. You've got to practice these problems. Okay? It's very, very important. All right, number 16, same idea. So it's going to be 5. It's just 5 squared. It's really 5 to the 1st squared if you want to put that. 5 squared, x to the 4th squared, and y to the 1 squared times 3xy. There's no exponent there, so I'm just going to write 3xy. But these are all to the 1st power. So that's going to give me 25. X to the 4th squared is x to the, right, you multiply x to the 8th, y to the 2nd, times 3x to the 1, y to the 1. And then I put them together. I get 25 times 3 is 75. And that's x to the 8th times x to the 1st. You add those together, x to the 9th. Okay, and y to the 2nd times y to the 1st is y to the 3rd. That's your answer. Okay, 17. I'm going to do 2 cubed. Distribute that 3, that cubed. 2 cubed, x squared cubed. And I'm going to keep this in parentheses. I think that's a good idea. And then that's times negative 4 squared and x to the 5th squared. So basically 2 cubed is 8. That's x to the 6th. That's negative 4 squared is 16. And x to the 5th squared is x to the 10th. Alright, then you multiply 8 times 16 is 128. And then it's x to the 6 plus 10 is 16. Alright, this one's pretty mellow. It's y squared to the 4th, which is y to the 8th. And y cubed squared is y to the 6th. I add those together, I get y to the 14th. Okay, same thing, that 5 is going to be 5 squared, then the z squared, and then times 2 cubed z cubed to the 3rd power. Okay, so the 5 squared is just 25, z squared, 2 cubed is 8, z cubed cubed is z to the 9th power. So 8 times 25 is 200, and then z to the 2nd times z to the 9th is z to the 11th. Okay, number 20, same thing. I'm going to write negative 2 cubed, a to the 4th cubed, times negative 3 squared, times a to the 5th squared. Okay, negative 2 cubed is negative 8. A to the 4th cubed is a to the 12th, right? You multiply exponents. Negative 3 squared is negative, or is positive 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is a positive value. And then a to the 10th. Okay? And then negative 8 times 9 is negative 72. And that's a to the 12th plus 10 is a to the 22. Okay, so that is your answer. So that's it, math fans. Again, we spent a little bit of time doing a bunch of different examples. Just be very patient. When you have an exponent on the outside of the parentheses, make sure it affects every term inside the parentheses. Parentheses are your friends, so use them. All right, that's it, math fans. Have an outstanding day. Adios. Goodbye.